Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to listen. Today we are talking about sexual perversion in the narcissist, sexual perversion in the narcissist, and this is a spiritual perspective. So for those of you all who are not into God, this message may not be one you want to listen to, but those who are, you need to be aware that when it comes to sexual perversion, sexual immorality, although we do not talk about the specific acts, you've got to know that when God is speaking to your spirit about something that doesn't feel right, doesn't look right, information you may have found out about a partner, that somebody is definitely caught up in a sinful nature. And in situations involving sex, unfortunately, there's not anything that you can do other than, if you're in a relationship, to stop having sex with a sexually perverse, immoral type of individual. Okay. I mean, some people, they want to have their cake and eat it too, so to speak. But if I know that somebody's making me feel uncomfortable, that they're, doing some things that I have repeatedly told them I do not like and they shouldn't do it, and it's not something that I think is going to help the relationship, but they insist that, no, this is fine, this is okay, and they even try to justify some things by using the Bible, saying things like, well, the bed is undefiled, and you know better, you're going to have to stop allowing certain things to take place. And how do you do that? Well, you stop being available to that person. No, I'm sorry, I don't want to participate in that act. Well, I can always find someone else. Well, then that's what you do. And you go ahead and proceed to do some other things. You can't make people do too much of anything unless, of course, you have some kind of money to give them, or you're bribing them, you're coming up with some threats, you know how to manipulate, persuade some people to do some things. But when they break programming, though, sooner or later they will break programming. They're going to look at you as a bad guy or bad girl. Okay. Sexual immorality, sexual perversion, and the narcissist. Well, we already know the narcissist is one who's very self-absorbed, self-important, self-righteous. He's got a lot of self involved, okay? He's not interested in other people and what other people want or like. He is about uplifting himself. I say he because the majority of narcissists are men, okay? There are women, yes, absolutely. But the majority are men, so I will be using the he example, and I will throw in some she's. But what is this business, though, with the narcissist and sex? And why is it that they tend to behave in the way that they do? Well, those who have a long history of being raised by self-important, self-absorbed, self-righteous folks, that's where they get a lot of their stuff from, okay? It's a learned behavior for some people. Other people, they just take on these things because they have gone through some traumatic events in their life. Some of them have personality disorders, and so narcissism shows up in those personality disorders, okay? But this message isn't going to zero in on the why. What we're zeroing in on is the spiritual connectedness to the narcissism. The spiritual connectedness being that if God has spoken to you and told you that I've called you to be free, if you get involved with somebody who is very much into self, they are going to entangle you into a yoke of bondage. And a narcissist is about uplifting himself, elevating himself, and he wants people around him to do the same. So he puts himself in one's life as a god. You do what I want you to do, and we can get along. You don't do what I want you to do, and we're going to have problems on top of problems. Because when the narcissist goes into a relationship, he is thinking about what is going to benefit him. Is this woman going to bring some money to the table to help me out? Is this woman going to give me all the sex that I want and then some? Is this woman going to give me the children? Is this woman going to, be that one out there in the public that's going to be beautiful and sweet and nice and then be a freak at home? Come on. It's about serving me. It's about elevating me, about pushing me forward. And oh yeah, that's right. It's also about you. I forgot about that. And some folks don't catch up until divorce papers show up, until children are taken away, until police are involved, until something really bad happens. Now, oh, that's right. It is about other people, and it's not just about me. God shows up and shows out even in a narcissist's life. Yes, he loves a narcissist too. Somebody needed to hear that. Well, I didn't really think that. God loves everyone, even when they're messed up. Sometimes he's going to use us to speak truth to them. You got to stop looking so much into yourself and what you want and what you need, and it's all about you. You've got to come up out of that. And then that person goes, what? What do you mean I got to come up out of that? I never looked at myself as being so important and so this, that, and the other. Well, if you are walking around here talking about what you want, when you want it, how you want it, breaking news, it's about you. You're a very selfish individual. And you're not interested in what other people are doing and what other people are trying to strive for and how we can all work together. It's either your way or the highway. Now, how long do you think a person is going to stay in a relationship like that? Well, some people, they stay in there 20, 30, 40 plus years because they have very low self-esteem. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they're dumb and they don't know anything. Even though the narcissist might think, oh, well, she's so vulnerable. She's so stupid. She doesn't know what's going on. Oh, God will shine a light. It's just that they haven't been released yet, because a lot of times, and I know from personal experience in the past, is that a lot of times we are in a dark place because of disobedience. We end up getting hooked up with narcissists and other people that have all sorts of personality disorders because we wanted to go on looks. We wanted to go on opportunity. We wanted to put our own selfish needs above other folks. And so, therefore, you attract what you attract. You reap what you sow. Okay, I'm talking to somebody. Most of the problems that are happening in your relationship is because a selfish person attracted a selfish person. And now the two selfish people are at war with one another because you're not meeting my needs. Well, you're not meeting my needs. And you were supposed to do this and you were supposed to do that. And everybody had rules and nobody was willing to compromise. Nobody was willing to step outside of self long enough to get some things accomplished, unified. Okay. So this is what happens. So the somatic narcissist, and this is off of a site that I came across, samvok.tripod.com. He is a malignant narcissist. Okay. He has written books about himself pretty much. Malignant self-love. Okay. Relationships with abusive narcissists. Okay. This is a man who has delved deep into this subject matter. And the somatic narcissist is one who some of you all might be familiar with after I read this to you. His sexual conquest he flaunts his sexual conquest, parades his possessions, exhibits his muscles, right? Brags about his physical aesthetics, youthfulness, sexual prowess or exploits, and is often a health freak and a hypochondriac. Like most males, somatic narcissists are plagued with a sexual overperception bias, but in a more pronounced way than normal. They tend to interpret every female behavior. Listen closely to this, because some of you women, you're so nice and you're so doggone flirtatious and you need to stop. Some of these men are married, but that's a whole nother subject matter. And you feed into that foolishness that some of these men put upon you. Meanwhile, they are hell on wheels for the wives, okay, the wives that are at home, or the wives that are funding their projects, or the wives that are responsible for buying their clothes that you admire. I used to be single. That's how I know about these things. Okay. They will come at you from all angles because they're looking for their next victim. Ooh, Jesus. So listen to this. They tend to interpret every female behavior, utterance, and gesture as an ambiguous invitation to have sex. So your pretty little smile and your little, aw, thank you for saying that about me. You're so sweet, right? In his mind, he's thinking, I just might have my next sexual partner. I know it's a scary thought, isn't it? Especially when they're scary ugly. Okay, inside and out. But they're out there. They're out there. That's why some women, why don't they smile? They're so mean. Some men say they don't smile because they done come across some men who think that every time they say something nice or smile or whatever, that man is thinking, oh, she wants me. Oh, she wants to have sex with me. This is the somatic narcissist. He's that one that, ooh, look at those muscles. Look at that. Nice shirt. Oh, he's got it going on. He spent like what? $400 for that. Wow. Maybe he might spend some money on me. Woo, right? So this man is about showing off. And it's funny how these men get all this attention from these women and so forth, but the women don't realize that they're dealing with somebody that has a personality disorder. And he has an interesting way of showing it all off in the things that he says, the things that he does, and the things that he assumes about other women. Every woman doesn't want to have sex with a man because he has a nice body. Every woman doesn't want to have sex with a man because, he was flirting with me or he was flattering me. But you got some men that are just that narrow-minded. And some of them have friends that tell them, man, that woman don't want you. Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Every woman wants me. Look at my abs. Look at my muscles. The somatic narcissist regards his body as an object to be sculpted and honed via extreme diets, multiple cosmetic surgeries, bodybuilding, or weightlifting. When coupled with psychopathic tendencies, the somatic appropriates other people's bodies and treats these as raw materials to be dismembered, tampered with, altered, invaded, or otherwise abused. Okay? Now, we're not talking about every man who, exercises and that he's got some kind of personality disorder. And I don't want anybody taking that away from this message because that's not what I'm saying. I am talking about individuals who have a personality disorder that is self-absorbed, self-righteous, self-important, you name it. And it just so happens that all this other stuff shows up with them, the multiple cosmetic surgeries and the bodybuilding and weightlifting, okay? And I don't want people assuming that every time they come across a man like this that he's into that sort of thing, abusing other people and treating them like objects and so forth. But are these people out here, men as well as women? Yes, they are. Okay. And that's what we're zeroing in on. We've got to understand sexual perversion, even down to the details. Some things, yes, are not in the Bible. The Bible would have been way too long to talk about every single itty bitty personality disorder and every type of, character trait dealing with some of these folks. So that's why we have to look. We're seeking, we're paying attention, we're watching, we're being guarded about these people that are out here. And the Lord says sexual perversion right there. I don't quite understand you, Lord. What do you mean? That person right there, they've got some things going on with them that you need to be aware of so that you don't fall into their trap. You're vulnerable maybe because you went through something with a partner. You might be not really paying that close attention to somebody who is drawn near to you. And they're saying a lot of flirtatious, very nice things, what have you. But I got to show this person to you so that you don't end up falling into the enemy's schemes. So the somatic narcissist, he is a sex addict, or he has histrionic personality disorder, manic defensives, avoidance of feelings of discomfort, loneliness, and inadequacy by seeking states of hyperactivity, arousal, and excitement. Okay. So he's always misinterpreting females and what they, say and do. And, I guess she must be interested in me. And then, of course, there's the cerebral narcissist. And the cerebral narcissist, this is one who, I like to say, brainy type. He's a know-it-all. He's haughty. He's intelligent. And a lot of these guys, they're dull and they're boring. Okay. I'm going to just put that out there. They're the kind of people who they're pretending, or either they do have real knowledge. And according to the site samvoc.tripod.com, to secure adoration, adulation, and admiration, they will come up with all of this intellectual type of stuff, knowledge, because they've got to attract certain types of people to them. Okay. And some of them, it's not even about attracting. They just want to come out there and look as if they know so much, even when they don't. But the thing about the cerebral narcissist is he's not like the somatic one who's about his body. He is not caring too much about his body. I mean, to work out, to exercise, that's such a burden to him. Okay. But what Sam says is that both types are autoerotic. They're psychosexually in love with themselves, with their bodies and with their brains. And they prefer to do some things, play with their certain members, okay, without getting into too much detail. They are, mature, interactive, multidimensional, and emotion-laden sex. Those are the types of stuff that they're into. Okay. A lot of these cerebral narcissists are celibate, even when they do have a girlfriend or a spouse. There's just not too much going on with any of them in the bedroom. And they rather look at pornography, whether soft or hard pornography, or whether rated R movies, but they rather look at all that kind of stuff and get some kind of auto stimulation sexually rather than dealing with the real thing. But if I have to deal with the real thing, I guess. Okay. And I like what he adds here, and this is something that some women have to pay attention to in relationships or dating relationships. The cerebral narcissist is sometimes a latent, hidden, not yet outed homosexual. There you have it. Booyah, booyah. So some people felt in their spirit that somebody wasn't right. Something, when it comes to their sexuality or, what's going on in the relationship, when it comes to intimacy, something is not right. Well, there you have it. Okay. The sexual perversion gets in the way of quality relationships, not just with human beings, but with the one true God. So say a prayer for those that are caught up in something and you were trying to figure out, what exactly is it? There you have it. Sexual perversion comes in many different ways, and today we just chose to zero in on the somatic as well as the cerebral narcissist. But God will show you. Speak to the Lord, and He will lead you to the right information to help you in whatever situation you're in. To God be the glory. Please do check the description box for anything that might be of interest. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to subscribe. And if you haven't given, we do welcome donations. To God be the glory once again.